Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on YouTube.
Powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. This is the Morning Sports Desk. I'm CJ Baumgartner, joined today with Kyle Gylsen because we have an amateur hour Monday to break down. Kyle, before we get into all the action, what a weekend of town ball, huh?
Yeah, just looking at the scores of some of the games that I did were fun to be at, and then just looking at some of the other scores from some of the other regions and districts that we were kind of following but not really covering. Yeah, some really good scores, so it should be a lot of fun for baseball fans across the area.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of great stuff and a lot of playoff action, and I just get to keep hitting this button.
Playoffs? We'll talk about playoffs? You kidding me?
If you got it, you got to use it, right?
Jim Mora?
Yeah, exactly. I can't quite sneak in the Mike Gundy's. I'm a man, I'm 40. It's not as easy, but anytime playoffs roll around, I just hammer that button.
There you go.
All the time. And a place that you should go to all the time is the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. They're proud sponsors of the Morning Sports Desk, and you can get hooked on the great games that are going on at the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade, like Wicked Tuna. The arcade game over at the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. It's, of course, based on the reality TV show Wicked Tuna. The realistic fishing rod and reel game is like reeling in the deep water fish. You can feel the pull of the tuna, marlin, or really any other ocean fish you want. You got to watch out for sharks, though. They might gobble up your fish before you reel it in. Come and try your luck at Wicked Tuna, and you can do it today. It's the perfect day. Half price Mondays on all games at the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. Not only is it Wicked Tuna, but there's 30 other games you can go try your luck at. You can just, one, have a great time, and two, if you do good enough at these games, you'll get points and tickets that you can redeem for some great prizes, things as little as just little Tootsie Roll candies or as big as autographed Anthony Edwards basketballs. There's and anything in between. Just a big list of great prizes you can win at the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade, but also you can play a little Wicked Tuna. Kyle, you think you can handle that?
I love to fish. I don't know if I'd be any good at that. I'm not really great at quote unquote video games. So
you just hit buttons until something happens. You can do it at the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. Also, you can, enjoy the great pizza, chicken, mashed potatoes, salad bar. All of that stuff is great as well. Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena, proud sponsors of the Morning Sports Desk.
See, I'm old, CJ. Get a pinball machine, and I can
get some skee ball in there and just
my own there.
Yeah, start throwing it up. I love skee ball. We need to kind of make a comeback of pinball machines and skee ball, I think.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Great arcade games. You can't go wrong with the classics. Anytime you go to, if you go to Costco, you can walk in, you can buy the actual Pac-Man game centers, the actual arcade stuff. And they had it one time, you could just play with it in the store. And my wife left me for 20 minutes because I was just messing around with the Pac-Man thing. I wasn't any good at it. It was super fast. It's not how I remember it in the arcade, but you could play it over and over again. And I did. So yeah, arcade games are great. Go do that at the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. Kyle, town ball, region and district playoffs.
Playoffs? We'll talk about playoffs. You kidding me?
There was a lot. You had a suspended game that you had to pick up on Friday night between Urbank and Deer Creek. It was 1-0 Deer Creek in the 6th inning, but didn't stay that way.
No. Urbank came up in the bottom of the 7th inning, got a 2-run homer from, I believe it was David Revering, and then made that hold up and beat the Deer Creek Shockers 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, huge. And it kind of, for Urbank, it's been a lot of that, kind of getting timely hitting and getting those things that kind of the big hits when they needed. Obviously, it was a thing when they played Deer Creek, and also it became a thing when they wrapped around and had to play another game a little bit later against New York Mills that same night.
Yeah. We got a little bit of a break between games, and the sun popped out for a little bit. Going over to Perham, I thought for sure we were going to get rained out, or at least delayed by rain, but got there, and they said they hadn't had any rain since early on Friday morning when those showers and thunderstorms rolled through. So yeah, we played all night long and got ready with the sun coming out. We thought, well, all right, we got a good chance to get this one in and not worry about rain. And sure enough, we did. New York Mills jumped out to a 5-0 lead in that one. And Urbank just kept clawing back and finally got within striking range and got to the 9th inning. And I can't remember the exact order, but there was like a walk and then a hit batter and then an intentional walk to load the bases. And, and then there was another walk that forced in the tying run, made the score 5-5 in the bottom of the 9th inning. And then a fly ball into center field. And unfortunately for Miller fans, the outfielder lost the ball in the night sky and it dropped for a hit, and Urbank wins it 6-5.
Yeah, it's crazy how much things have kind of how much things matter and how much kind of the little things can impact. Obviously, New York Mills getting ahead 5-0, and then Urbank just kind of scratching and clawing their way back into the game. And these are both two really excellent teams. Urbank's been down to the state tournament plenty of times. New York Mills back-to-back state tournament appearances here in the last couple of years. Like, these are two really good, experienced baseball teams. And it was probably really fun to see that, Kyle, just kind of one team getting out to that lead and trying to hang on, another team that's full of veteran hitters that have been in that spot before, knowing that you don't need to get it all back in one piece and you kind of just need to claw away and wait for your opportunity.
Yeah, you're not going to hit a 5-run home run, so you just get the runs when you can and hopefully get the hits when you've got some guys in scoring position. And yeah, both teams were the number 1 seed coming out of their respective league, Resorters and High 10, and felt really bad for New York Mills because it was the second weekend in a row that they had a game that they could have won in the 9th inning and it got away from them. And Josh Hendricks jokingly commented as I was walking out of the ballpark that I was probably the jinx because I was broadcasting both of those games. But then he did say, no, I'm just kidding. Thanks for doing our game. But yeah, it was tough to see for the Millers because they did have a good team and did have a good shot at making it to the state tournament again, but just had a couple of tough breaks in a couple of games.
Yeah. And that happens to every team in every situation. And a lot of times for New York Mills, they've just been the better team and they have been able to overcome things like that, or things have just kind of broken their way. And when you get to this point in the year and this point in the region tournament, there's teams that are good enough to make you pay. And that's what happened in that situation there with Urbank. And going back to the winners bracket here, we'll stay in 11C. I know you were also in District 5B. We'll talk about that in a second, but going over to the winners bracket in the championship game for Region 11C, Sauk Centre took on Perham, and the Titans took care of business, winning 4-1, clinching the top spot in the new look Region 11C. There's no kind of losers bracket, come back through, play the winners bracket twice to win. They just say, hey, you win that championship game, you're the top seed, and Sauk Centre will be representing the first seed out of Region 11C next weekend in the state tournament. Perham goes into the elimination bracket and they play Urbank, and a rematch of a game last weekend, Kyle, where Perham won 3-0. And I know that it was a good win for Perham and not taking anything away from them, but that was one where sometimes that score can be deceiving. Urbank had opportunity after opportunity, and Perham did a good job stranding them last weekend. And this weekend, I think Urbank was just just kind of had things working a little bit better for him on that day. They win 6-1.
Yeah, we didn't see that game. We were doing 5B that day, but give credit to Urbank. Like they said, they fell behind in that game against Perham last weekend. They had a lot of traffic. It wasn't a real comfortable win. Talking to Jason Groff from Perham, and he said, yeah, it was, we were throwing a no-hitter through 5 or something like that. But you just didn't feel real comfortable on the bench. But in that game, Urbank couldn't come up with the key hit that they needed. But the third weekend of the tournament, they were able to put some runs up on the board and get that 6 runs in back-to-back games on Friday and Saturday to qualify for the state tournament.
Yeah, and it's just a real tough path for Urbank. They had to finish a suspended game and then win 2 games after that, and they kind of show why they've been a perennial team coming through all this way. And Urbank's got the pitching that's able to do it. They've also had the bats get going, which has helped out as well, and that's where things sit. Urbank clinches the second spot in Region 11C, which means, sorry, High 10 fans, it's a Resorters League this year because both teams, Sauk Centre and Urbank, are from that Resorters League, and they are going to be the two representatives for Region 11C. We'll talk more about their games kind of coming up in a little bit, but congratulations to both of those teams, and congratulations, of course, to Deer Creek and New York Mills and Perham on some great seasons as well. Let's dip our toes in Region 5B. You did one game there on Saturday morning, Kyle. A little bit of an early start for you after doing a game and a half the night before, but you had a good one between Fergus Falls and Bluffton for a state tournament berth on the line.
Yeah, it was kind of tough, kind of hectic getting ready to do a baseball game at 11 o'clock in the morning because you get there about an hour before your pregame is going to start. So, it was a little hectic in the Gylsen household Saturday morning, trying to get everything taken care of and then get over to the ballpark there, the Terry Geyser Field in Bluffton. And, a great game. Saw some pretty good pitching in that one. And it was, there was a, right there, it was 2-0 early in favor of the Hurricanes. They got a couple of runs, one in the first, one in the third inning. And then Isaac Hammond settled in. I think he retired 11, 12 in a row, something like that after that. The Hurricanes weren't able to score any more runs. So the Braves were in it the entire game, really. They fell behind 2-0, but they ran into some great pitching. Darren Stanislawski retired the first 14 men he faced.
Wow.
The first base runner for the Braves didn't come until the 5th inning when one of the Braves reached on an error with 2 out. The Braves didn't get their first hit until the 7th inning, and they were able to use that hit to walk, a sac bunt, and a single to score their only run of the game. They had runners on second and third with 1 out after a sacrifice bunt and managed to get 1 run. We're obviously hoping for more in that inning, and they needed more as they end up losing 4-1. But a great pitching performance by Stanislawski of the Fergus Falls Hurricanes to limit a very good offensive Bluffton Braves team to just 1 run.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, especially when it's the first game of the weekend for both teams. Both teams are throwing their aces. They're doing things. They're kind of throwing the kitchen sink, for lack of a better term. And sometimes when you play games like that, and I'm sure those Bluffton guys will tell you, sometimes you just run into a starting pitcher who's on his A game, and there's just not much you can do. It's the basketball equivalent of, I don't know, man, they shot 70% from 3. Like, I don't know what we're supposed to do about that. We could do everything right, but they're just on one today. And that's kind of what it was for Fergus Falls. They represent, along with Ada, District 5B in the state tournament next weekend. Let's take a peek.
Yeah, I'm just going to say Fergus Falls won 3-2 in 13 innings. That championship game over Ada, and the Hurricanes. I mentioned it during our post game on Saturday morning. Fergus Falls now qualifying for a state tournament for the 41st time.
41st time
in a row, I think it is. So 1 trips to the state tournament going back to the 1950s or something. So they've been there a lot and consistently.
That's a good program in Fergus Falls, and a really good track record of excellence there. Goodness gracious. Even in the new 5B in Class B, which is, again, kind of Class B is kind of the heavy hitters, if you will, kind of taking the heavy hitters of Class C, going by how many times have you been to a state tournament, collegiate players on your team, and things like that all factor into a point system that get you from Class C, which is where a majority of teams are, into Class B, which is kind of just a little step up, trying to weed that out a little bit, get a higher quality of baseball in Class B, and also just allow more teams in Class C to be able to reach the state tournament. And Fergus Falls showing no problem moving up a class and doing that. That's incredible that they get to be the region or the district champions in that one. Let's take a look, Kyle, at Region 4C, because this one was interesting. We had a lot of potential games that could have happened over the weekend in that one. First of all, you had a matchup, kind of a rematch, if you will, of action between the Lake and Pine Championship game with Nimrod and Midway competing right away on Saturday morning or early Saturday afternoon. It was a 3-2 victory for the Nats. They were able to just come away with a victory and keep their season alive. They then took on Foston and were able to beat them 3-2 and advance to the qualifying game for the state tournament. They needed one more win, and it's tough because you have to play 3 games in a weekend. You need 3 games worth of pitchers, season on the line. Everybody's throwing their best at you, and you're playing a team in Hawley that only played 1 game before. They played Roseau the night before, lost 3-2. Roseau took the first of 2 bids in Region 4C, and then Nimrod played Hawley in a 15-inning classic where Hawley won 8-7. And again, we talk about that pitching just running thin a little bit once you get to that point. And again, I don't know the specifics on Nimrod's pitching plan. Maybe they were in a better spot than I'm making it out to be. But that's just a lot for any team, no matter how good a pitching you have, to be able to have to win 3 games in a weekend to go to the state tournament. And they were this close. They were right there. And I'm sure when you lose a game in extra innings, 8-7, you probably could look at a few different opportunities in a game where you strand a runner here, strand a runner there, and it's a different ball game. But Nimrod was this close to getting back to the state tournament, and unfortunately, their season comes to a close. Same with Midway's, but making things interesting over there with those 2 Lake and Pine teams this weekend.
Yeah, and Nimrod lost that opening game to Hawley, 4-0, I think it was, and then had to work their way back through the elimination bracket. So yeah, tip of the hat to Nimrod and the 3 Lake and Pine teams getting moved to 4C. So they're seeing some different opponents and things like that, and ended up 1 game, 1 run or 2 runs away from qualifying for a trip to the state.
All right, one last thing.
Hawley, I think that is their first ever state tournament appearance. So
interesting. All right, the Hawley Hawks, by the way, and the Roseau Royals representing that. It's really cool to get to see those teams go down. And again, you talk about Hawley getting their first state tournament appearance, and that's kind of a lot of what the Minnesota Baseball Association wanted to do by adding that Class B, which was, let's get some of these perennial teams that are there every year. Let's get them all together and get a really great state tournament by having all those guys go against each other. And the Class C has a few of those teams leave, which means that a few of those teams are going to fill in the cracks here and there and allow more teams to get the experience of going down to the state tournament, which is what the MBA was looking for. And it's cool to see Hawley get that last spot, even if it came at the expense of Nimrod and that. One last thing, Kyle, we have the bracket. It just got announced yesterday for Classes B and Class C. Let's just take a quick look at some games that are going to matter here for teams in our listening area. First of all, Hawley is going to play Hanska. They're going to play the Lakers on Saturday at 1:30 in Brownton. Urbank is going to play the Le Sueur Braves, and that is going to take place on Saturday at 11 a.m. in Brownton. And Kyle, I know it's not official yet, but we're planning on sending you down for that one.
Yeah, got to double check with the boss at home, but chances are good that we'll be able to get down there because going to take some time off on Thursday to spend time with the boss. So that should free up Saturday to get down to that tournament. The Le Sueur Braves, don't know a lot about them other than they are the champions out of Region 7, one of 4 teams that comes out of Region 7. So it must be one of those,
kind of mega
of baseball for that area. So yeah, the Le Sueur goes. I had the list here somewhere, but I think Brownton is in that region, so they get to go. I don't know if they get to go.
Oh, is in that one. Brownton is, and then one last one was Cologne.
Le Sueur is going to go as the champion. Glencoe, the runner-up. Brownton and Cologne. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if they get in because they're hosting or if they get in because they just got in or what the deal was. But yeah, this is also Corey Tackman's neck of the woods. So you're just going to go down there and start yelling the Tackman name until somebody says something, somebody's ears perk up.
Well, that's that. And, we're fairly close. And, I think Arlington was in that region as well. So, our boss in the Twin Cities, Mr. Seaman, from down that area. So, yeah, they'll probably, maybe we'll run into some of those guys, or at least we'll run into some people that know Corey and Mr. Seaman, and maybe get some stories, a little blackmail.
Either that and or some great radio content to go with. Maybe both. I don't know. But yeah, that's what the tournament is looking like here so far. And other teams that you may have heard of, the Randall Cubs are going to play the Leavenworth Orioles. The Painesville Pirates taking on the Lamberton Long Sox, Glencoe Brewers taking on the Morris Eagles. Roseau Royals will be playing the Cannon Falls Bears. Sauk Centre Titans will take on the Opal Bears. Piers Lakers will take on the Mora Blue Devils. And that kind of looks about it. From the Wyndham Pirates will take on the El Rosa Saints. So,
yeah. And that those Opal Bears, I don't know where Opal is.
It's by Holdingford.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I heard that this is their first ever state tournament. So
yeah,
where I ran into
you were
that.
set to play them in Clarissa this year for a game, and then it got rained out, and then it rained that Friday tremendously, and then we just non-league, non-section, non-region game just never got made up. But yeah, nice team. Got some good players on that squad as well, obviously, to get to that point. Let's take a look at the Class B bracket, just a little bit smaller than that Class C. Class C had 32 teams. And just a few less here. It's kind of set up a little differently with first round buys and things like that all kind of thrown in there as well. But things that matter in terms of our listening area, the Ada A's will take on the Maple Lake Lakers, and that will happen on Sunday in Gaylord. And then also the Nisswa Lightning are taking on the Kimball Express Sunday at 11 a.m. in Gaylord. And the Foley Lumberjacks taking on the Watkins Clippers Sunday 1:30 in Gaylord, and then the first round bye for the Fergus Falls Hurricanes, they're going to play on Saturday, August 23rd at 4:00 in Hutchinson. They're going to play the winner of Kimball and Nisswa. So there's your region, there's your Class B bracket there as well. Kyle, I think we got everything in there that we need to talk about, but just kind of one more time as it kind of wraps up the Town Ball Tour, at least in our listening area before you go down to the state tournament. How fun was it to get to be on those fields and kind of get to be around amateur baseball throughout July and August?
It was fantastic. We used to do a lot of region games in the past and kind of got away from that over the last number of years for a number of reasons. But yeah, the first night that I walked into Perham last weekend, I get a hug from Gary Gruey. I get a handshake from Bob Shepper, and both were, thank you for coming. Appreciate you covering amateur baseball, and anything you need, just let us know. And we had a number of fans that, were, thanking us and asking about, where the next game is going to be and what time. And I had fans bringing scores into me while I was in the press box from games that were going on in other towns, and had lots of the teams thanking us for the coverage and things like that. And I had one, the first weekend, I think we were in Bluffton, a fan bought me a hot dog meal deal. So I got hot dog chips and a water.
You got the red carpet rolled out for you.
So yeah, the hospitality
was put up for you at one point.
What's that?
Didn't you have a canopy put up for you at one point?
We've got a new Superstation tent, and I brought it up from Alexandria, and I had it in the back of my pickup. And that one Sunday or whatever day it was last weekend, it was so hot and the sun was shining, and I thought, I'll be all right, and it just kept getting hotter and hotter. And I don't know, maybe it looked like I was wilting away because some of the fans went into my truck, opened up the tailgate, took the tent still in its box, took it out, put it up, set it up, drug it over to where I was sitting alongside the fence. And then all of a sudden, all these other fans start congregating underneath, getting some shade too. But yeah, so the hospitality was great. The fan support was great. The business support, we appreciate that. And hopefully everybody enjoyed the coverage that we had over the last couple of weekends.
Yeah, it's great. Town Ball Tour was awesome. And it's not ending yet. You're going to be going to Brownton this coming weekend to cover some Urbank Bomber baseball. We are going to be following Urbank all the way throughout the tournament. When they're done, we're done. And if they win, they keep winning. If they win on Saturday, they will play next Saturday, I believe, also in Brownton as well. So a lot still to happen. Kyle, thanks for hopping on. Thanks for your coverage all season long. And hopefully we'll be talking next weekend about some Urbank victories.
You're welcome. And thanks to Corey for letting me take his spot here on the morning sports desk.
Welcome back anytime. Just make it. It's like the backup catcher, it's on a hot streak. Just got to do it enough to kind of
bring in the B team.
All right. This is the morning sports desk powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wood.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.